Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hey everybody, welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm your host, Alex Rudy. And welcome. It is Veterans Day today, so thank you veterans for all your service. And I'm very grateful we have a holiday to honor you and all you do. You put in a lot of work and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and sometimes your lives are on the line. So thank you so much for that. And pray for you, those who are out there in the field, and pray you get home safely. So I could do my podcast, which is a new episode today with an artist I found through another Facebook group. It's called Stage to Scale. And someone in the group asked the question, does anybody do a podcast? So a lot of people chimed in. Of course, I had to throw in The Artist Matters. And I got a few responses from people who seem interested in being guests. And that's how I found today's guest, Liz Acar. Liz currently lives in the same state as me, the Sunshine State, Florida. But she's down in the Keys, Key West to be exact. But her journey began in Oklahoma, and then eventually she ended up in Georgia. She has been a very creative type all her life, interested in photography in particular, but she also has the background of being a licensed clinical social worker, a multi-certified international coach, and speaker. Now, these were her things that she was doing, and she put her art to the side in her adult years and then came down with a serious illness. A lot of it had to do with the many stresses of the job she was doing and pushing away her creativity. It got so bad she couldn't even flip a light switch on and off. And it was just recommended that she needs to do something to take care of herself. And she decided to move from Georgia all the way down to Key West in 2017. And it helped the healing process. But there were challenges. There was Hurricane Irma in September of that year. And 7 months after she moved down there, her partner passed away from cancer. And what many of the creatives we featured on the show do, they find a way to channel the grief, the pain, the struggles, the suffering into some creative, artistic talent and endeavor. And in her case, she started taking photographs. Not using a professional camera, she just used her iPhone 7 and turned out some incredible work that you will see on her page, where I'll post the links later on. And then people were telling her she should make a book out of this stuff. And then she teamed up with an author to help make it both a book of incredible photographs, but also make it into a book that you can use as visual meditation. And the result was the book called You Are Loved, an Inspired Meditative Visual Journey, which is a really nice coffee table type book, published earlier this year. And if that wasn't enough, she just came out with another book this past September called Enjoy, a Guide to Designing a Joy-Filled Life. More of a 90-day program. There's some photos in there, but it's more of an inspirational, motivational book. And both books have been Amazon bestsellers for several weeks, which is an incredible feat for a first-time author. Way to go, Liz. But this conversation really helped me a lot, especially this week, because I was having some personal struggles and concerns with my health in question because I had to go to the doctor and get some results, and there's some mysteries. I have to do more tests. It's that thing of like, now I have to keep waiting. We're not done. But talking with her helped me refocus my mind and let me be more aware of how I was feeling and not dwelling on outcomes I have no control over. As you'll hear in our conversation, you're going to get a lot out of this. This is a real good one. I'm so glad I got her on the show. So enough of my yakking. Without further ado, here is my chat with Liz Acar. All right, we have on The Artist Matters, it's Liz. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you made the time. Another Floridian living in Key West. It's very nice.
Yes. Yes, I love it down here. Yes, excellent. And I'm looking forward to you visiting one day.
Yes, I got to go down there. We will make our pilgrimage one day. We must.
Yes, yes.
So, Liz, what were some of your earliest creative memories?
Oh gosh, I started as a kid with creativity, with business, with art. I think it was really drawing some, although I'm not really a big drawer. Mm-hmm. It drew me in. There was something that was fascinating about trying to recreate something in another place. So I doodle a lot. And kind of doodle places sometimes I wasn't supposed to.
Of course.
And make pretty color walls, and that didn't always go over so well.
Okay.
Yes.
Was there anything in particular you were doodling?
No, a lot of it was very abstract when I first started, and it seems like I keep changing different meridians or different mediums to play with. My mind is so curious about things. It's like, let me try the drawing, let me try the glass etching, let me try the photography, let me try this, and it's I love it all.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
An Okie.
Yeah, an Okie. Yes. Yes.
Was family encouraging of your creative side?
I will say they weren't discouraging, depending on where I was doing my creative side. So, but I was a bit of a rebel with that, and just kept finding ways to keep creating. I even did like a kid playhouse in the backyard where I found scraps. We didn't have much money, so we couldn't buy anything. But I found I found scraps of different materials and made this house where I could go and hide away in, and it was wonderful. So that was also that creativity.
Now, did you want to pursue a career in the arts?
When I was really young, I had this dream of being a National Geographic photographer. And yes, and and I'd snap with my mom's old camera. I'd snap those pictures and just never really did anything with it. And in high school, actually took TV production and started making some small shows that went out through the cable channel in Tulsa, and had a lot of fun with that. So then I thought, radio, TV, film. So I kept bouncing around a lot.
But you wound up getting into counseling and coaching.
Yes, completely went off track. So,
what was the decision for that?
I found that I really loved helping and supporting and inspiring people. And when I found out the track I was in college was really more radio, I shifted and said, you know what, let me go ahead. And actually I broke away from college for a while and just went out and played and kind of had some fun adventures. And then when I went back, I thought, okay, this is a field that I could really enjoy and support. And it's interesting how it's kind of circled back around to just doing it in a different way now and tying it in together. So yes.
Yeah, it's the combining of the arts with the counseling and coaching with what that you're incorporating them together now?
I am. I'm looking at more and more ways to do that. What I found was that, using the photos, so many people talk about how it really settles them and calms them down. And I thought, gosh, that's something that we so need in our life right now with all the distractions we have going on. So it's finding new ways to play and combine them.
Definitely. So you're in Oklahoma.
Yes. However, from Oklahoma, I was actually in Atlanta area for about 21 years.
And you're in Georgia. And then this
Yes.
significant illness hits you?
Yes.
What happened?
I started getting what I call now more misaligned with really what I wanted. That creative side was wanting to come through, and I had shut it down. I had gotten so tied up with work and some chaos with work that just choice after choice, I allowed myself to be in kind of a toxic environment. And pretty soon it hit. And the way it hit was I was finishing my first book, the one Enjoy. And as I'm writing about how to align with a joy-filled life, I'm realizing how unjoy-filled my life had become and how out of balance I had become. And within 2 weeks of finishing the rough draft of that book, I ended up in the hospital for the first time. It was like, wow. And when I finished the draft, I said, I'm ready to be more aligned. I'm ready to have a happier life, a more joy-filled life. I'm ready to be back in balance. And boy, that was a wake-up call. 2 weeks being in the hospital going, okay, let's get started on how to shift this up a little bit. So, yeah. So it was really interesting. And it was a long journey to start realizing, well, what had gotten off track? Where had I veered off? And what can I do differently to get back to my health and get back to that joy? And I tell you, once I moved through a lot of the healing process, the creativity started really kicking back in again. And it's been wonderful. I tell you, it's a great way to start calming down again and getting recentered and refocused.
Why do you think so many of us turn our back on our creativity and art?
I have found with myself and with so many clients that there's so many distractions and there's so much busyness out there, so many demands. And if people have children or elderly families or are really caught up in their work, that they just don't take time for themselves. And if we aren't taking time for ourselves, or if we do have time, so many people are scrolling through social media or checking this or doing anything that's really not truly being present with themselves. And it seems like it's becoming, I almost call it more of a crisis. As people are getting less engaged and connected with themselves and others, it seems like we're seeing so much more depression and anxiety and but just unhappiness and, gosh, some of the hatred and the unkindness in some of the things we're seeing now. And it's just that choice by choice that becomes the new normal.
Focusing in on the wrong things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's slow. It's like if you had a threshold and say maybe you're at a 3. I don't know what a normal threshold would be, but we'll call it a 3. And then a little stress comes in and a little worry and how am I going to pay the bills and how do I have more time in my day? And then that stress level takes you to a 4, and then maybe all of a sudden you're at a 5 or a 6 and you don't even realize how far off balance you are because it's your new normal. And it's almost like a tunnel vision you can't get out of unless you do something different. But it comes with that awareness that it's even happening, and that's what happened with me. I teach this stuff and man, it snuck up on me. I'm like, wait, how did that happen? And I see it. It was just that slow disconnect, just one choice at a time.
Then you make the decision to move to Key West, of all places.
Yes, I realized my health was not improving in my current job. I was in senior management at the time and had my coaching business still on the side, although I'd let go most of my clients at that point. I was so sick. And my doctor said, you have got to take care of you. If you don't take care of you, you might eventually end up dead or not. I was so disabled, maybe not even really functioning well. So at that time, it was like, well, let's go ahead and move to Key West for a 4.5-month healing sabbatical. That was the original plan. And just come down and just be, and oh, wow. I was so ill, I couldn't even drive myself down here. Yeah, but it was like if I just sit and go be by the water, and at the time I hadn't even really thought that much about the photography again, but I thought just being by the water has such a calming effect that